Revealed. How I transformed my life after my husband exposed me as a disgrace over a 4,000 dinner. The whispers started before the sun even set. It was a crisp autumn evening when Sarah, the devoted mother and bakery owner, watched her world begin to unravel. A friendly dinner party for their neighbors had cost them nearly 4,000, a staggering amount that Mark had casually mentioned after the last delicate pastry had been devoured. Just a tad over budget, he had said with a shrug, but to Sarah, it felt like a punch in the gut. The laughter that once filled her home faded as she felt the edges of her beloved community blur into judgment. Maplewood was a close-knit neighborhood, a tapestry of kind smiles and warm embraces. Yet suddenly, it felt isolating. Sarah was a pillar in the community, known for her warm pastries and generous heart. Now those same neighbors exchanged sidelong glances and whispered, casting shadows on her once bright spirit. How could they spend so much? What kind of person hosts a party they can't afford? The whispers prickled her skin, tightening her chest with a tight knot of humiliation. With every morning spent rolling dough and frosting cupcakes, laughter echoed as children came to help, but the weight of her reputation hung heavy like a dark cloud. The other mothers at the playground no longer called her to catch up, their smiles feigned. Sarah fought to reclaim her dignity. She threw herself into her work, pouring love into her creations, hoping that the familiar sense of her warm cinnamon rolls and banana bread could magically mend her standing. Yet, each customer was a reminder of her downfall. Instead of support, she faced scorn. Just as despair threatened to swallow her whole, an idea flickered like a candle in the dark. What if I unite the community? She thought, her heart racing as she planned a fundraiser for a local veterans charity, a cause close to her family's heart. Organizing this event felt like a lifeline, a chance to show them who she truly was, not just the label they had given her. But with new dreams came fierce skepticism. Is she just trying to buy back her reputation? They would murmur, lingering doubts etched on their faces. Her own words betrayed her as she fought against every eye that scrutinized her intentions. Still, Sarah pressed on. If each pastry she baked could lighten someone's heart, maybe she still had a chance. As the day of the fundraiser approached, her bakery buzzed with anticipation, a sense of hope mingling with anxiety. When Sarah stood before the crowd, she took a deep breath, her heart racing in her chest. She spoke about her family, her struggles, and the importance of community. The air still thickened with skepticism. She could feel lingering doubts in the room. Just as she began to feel the connection break through, a familiar face turned away. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. As Sarah gazed into the sea of faces, she felt the weight of judgment still clinging to her. Would they ever truly see her? The question echoed in her mind like a haunting whisper, a flickering candle in the face of an unforgiving storm. Would the community she loved finally recognize her spirit beyond the shadows of her past? Only time would tell, but she was ready to fight for her place in the hearts of those around her. The chatter around her felt like static, drowning out her voice as it trembled with vulnerability. Sarah's heart hammered loudly in her ears. She had laid herself bare, her dreams and intentions placed in front of them like the pastries she adored creating. Breathing in deeply, she scanned the crowd, searching for a flicker of understanding or a nod of encouragement. Then she caught sight of her friend Rachel, an anchor-like presence through the chaos. Rachel's eyes didn't flicker away. Instead, they held steady, and Sarah felt a rush of warmth. If just one person in this room believed in her, maybe the rest would follow. Every one of us knows someone who has served our country. This event isn't just about me, Sarah continued, forcing her voice to carry over the murmur. It's about coming together, stepping beyond judgments, and supporting those who have given so much. She spoke with a passion fueled by the pain of rejection. The room fell silent, tension hanging like frost on a winter morning. The more she shared, the more she embraced her truth. Her words painted pictures of soldiers' faces of bravery and sacrifice, kids flipping pancakes at the local cafe to raise funds, families gathered on the 4th of July, and seniors reminiscing at local parades. She remembered her father, a veteran, the stories he told while she helped him bake pies, their shared laughter mingling with the aromas of warm cinnamon and sugar that filled their kitchen. "Help me honor them," she implored, her voice cracking. "Help me remind this community what it means to stand together." For the first time since the whispers began, Sarah sensed a shift among the crowd. She could see heads nodding slowly, eyes softening. Rachel shot her a thumbs up discreetly from the back, and it ignited a flicker of hope in the room. Suddenly, a hand rose from the back. It was Scott, the man who lived 2 doors down. "Sarah," he started, his voice rising over the crowd, "I remember when you baked cookies for the Little League team. Those kids loved them. We all know you're more than a dinner bill. You're a part of our community. Let us change the story." The murmurs shifted. They transformed from whispers of doubt into a hum of excitement. One by one, faces turned from skepticism to support. Ideas flew as the crowd began discussing what they could bring for the fundraiser, how they could help. Love, after all, was stronger than judgment. Days turned into a whirlwind as Sarah immersed herself in the preparation for the event. Individuals donated time, food, and money. Friends rallied. The old bakery, once a place filled with smiles and laughter, became a hive of activity. The scent of fresh pastries blended with the chatter of community members pitching in to make it a success. But amid the buzzing excitement, Sarah felt the weight of overwhelming expectation. What if they expected too much? What if their unity crumbled when the day arrived? As the event day approached, her nerves knotted tighter, and doubts crept at the edges of her mind. Just when she was about to spiral back into fear, a child's laughter rang through the bakery. Little Ava, her best friend's daughter, stood on tiptoes, aiming for the cookie jar in a way that reminded Sarah of her own childhood. In that moment, clarity washed over her. This was about more than just money. It was about connections, laughter, and reclaiming her place among friends, old and new. As the sun set on the day before the fundraiser, Sarah stood by the window, aching with anticipation and a hint of dread. What awaited her tomorrow? Would the community embrace her heart once more after the shadows cast by that dinner? The night seemed longer than usual as she contemplated what was to come. And just as doubt began to creep back in, the doorbell rang. It was Rachel, holding a plate piled high with cupcakes. "You ready for tomorrow?" "Because I am." Smiling back, Sarah felt a rush of determination. But still, a lingering question remained. Would love erase the scars of judgment? And would her efforts be enough to bridge the gap that had separated her from the community she cherished? As they settled on the porch, cupcakes between them, the shadows of doubt danced around, teasing the edges of their laughter. Tomorrow, she would step into that space again, with faith and resilience. But as hopeful beginnings often go, doubt lingered, leaving Sarah with one thought. What if tomorrow was the most important day of her life? Morning sunlight poured through Sarah's kitchen window, illuminating the flour-dusted counters. The day had finally arrived. The bakery buzzed with energy, but Sarah felt a whirlpool of nerves churning in her stomach. She glanced around at the activity, the donations stacked high, volunteers chatting excitedly, and the seductive scent of freshly baked goods hanging in the air. It was almost magical, yet she couldn't shake the tight knot of anxiety. "Are you ready?" Rachel leaned against the counter, a bright smile on her face despite the chaos. Her presence felt like a warm hug, grounding Sarah momentarily. "As ready as I'll ever be," Sarah replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "Come on. This is your moment, girl." Rachel twirled a spatula like a baton. "You've got this." Just then, a flurry of footsteps echoed in the bakery. A group of kids, hands sticky from icing, dashed in carrying a banner they had worked on. "Look, Miss Sarah," one of them called out, beaming proudly. "We made this for you." The banner was splashed with bright colors and read, "Together for our heroes." It melted Sarah's heart. She knelt down, meeting their eager eyes. "This is perfect. You guys did amazing." Their laughter filled the space with such innocence and joy that, for a moment, the weight of her fears slipped away. But as the clock ticked closer to the event, she felt those doubts rush back in. What if no one came? What if the community didn't see her effort? Soon, the first guests began to trickle in, hesitant smiles decorating their faces. Sarah's heart raced as familiar ones arrived. Neighbors and friends, those she hadn't spoken to since her dinner mishap, stood like sentinels waiting. "Hey, it's Sarah," someone shouted, and soon the room buzzed with chatter. Sarah took a deep breath, forcing a smile. The door opened again, and in walked Scott, flanked by his kids holding bags of donations. "We're here to help," he declared, his enthusiasm sparking encouragement around the room. As the event unfolded, Sarah gradually lost track of her anxious thoughts. Friends shared stories, a local band played cheerful tunes, and the line for pastries grew longer. People gathered around her outstretched hands, willing to give her a second chance. But just when she thought the tension was easing, the door swung open with a bang. Sarah's heart plummeted. There he was, Jack, her husband, the very man who had been the cause of her doubts. His presence felt like a thunderstorm on this sunny day. The chatter around her dimmed. Everyone turned, surprised to see him. Jack's expression was unreadable as he strode into the room, and for a moment, time felt suspended. The laughter faded as eyes flitted between them. "Sarah," he called out, stepping closer.
"Can we talk?"
Her heartbeat thundered in her ears again. She hadn't prepared for this. Would he undo everything she had built today? Would he bring back the chaos she tried so hard to flee? Suddenly, the room felt tight, the air thick with anticipation. With every passing second, she could sense the crowd's eyes darting between them, each one filled with curiosity. She hesitated, fear clawing at her belly, but then she remembered the laughter of the kids, the unity of her community, the hope in Rachel's eyes. "Sure, let us talk," she replied, her voice steady despite the storm brewing inside her. As they stepped out onto the porch, away from the bustling room, she couldn't shake the knot tightening in her chest. Would Jack's words send her spiraling back into darkness, or could she finally find her light? Sabotaging whispers began to creep back. Would this be the moment everything changed? The porch creaked underfoot as Sarah and Jack stepped outside. The bright sunlight felt overwhelming, an unwelcome contrast to the storm brewing inside her. She stood there, fists clenched at her sides, silently fighting the urge to retreat back inside, to the warmth and comfort of her friends, their laughter echoing in the background. "Sarah, I had to come," Jack began, his voice heavier than she remembered. There was a vulnerability in his eyes that she hadn't seen in a long time. "I know I've messed up. I just seriously?" Sarah snapped, the words escaping before she could catch them. "You show up here, at my event after everything? After you chose to leave me, when I needed you most?" Her heart raced, anger mixing with the confusion inside her. "That's not fair," he countered, taking a step closer. "I didn't think you'd want to see me. After, well, after you called me a disgrace in front of everyone?" She shot back, fighting tears. "You have the nerve to waltz in here with that history and expect me to just talk it out?" His face fell, and for a moment, the confident facade disappeared. "I want to fix this. You mean everything to me, Sarah." She shook her head, the weight of his words like a heavy anchor pulling her down. "You can't just decide that everything will go back to normal because you say so. Do you have any idea how I felt?" With each word, the thunderstorm within her raged harder. Jack reached out, clasping her hands in his. "I'm sorry," he said earnestly. "I've been doing a lot of thinking and I see the hurt I caused. I want to help you, to be here for you again. Help me?"
"How?"
"By showing up when it's convenient." Around them, the vibrant sounds of the bakery slipped away, leaving behind an echoing silence. Sarah could feel the intensity of the moment, every second stretched into infinity. She felt his grip tighten, a mix of desperation and fear. He had walked away from her when she was drowning. "Please, just let me be a part of this," he pleaded. "I can help with the bakery, with the kids. I want to prove I can change." "Prove it? You think this is some kind of redemption arc?" Sarah felt a mix of frustration and confusion. Her thoughts fluttered back to the laughter just inside, the community she had fought so hard to build since he left. "You walked away when I needed your support the most, Jack. You're not the only one who suffered. I had to rebuild myself from scratch. And now you want to be part of something you turned your back on?" The pang of old wounds surged through her. Jack opened his mouth to respond, but she cut him off. "I built this entire day without you. Don't you understand? I can stand on my own." Jack's expression took on a pleading look, eyes wide, almost desperate. "But I want to be here now. I want to support you. Just give me a chance. Please." A surge of uncertainty flooded Sarah's mind. Could she trust him again? Was it too soon? She felt a flicker of hope fighting against the shadows of doubt. Was Jack's presence a sign that he truly wanted to change, or was it merely a selfish desire to alleviate his own guilt? "I don't know," she whispered, the fight slowly leaving her. "I need time." His eyes softened. "I'll wait for you. I promise. I'll do everything to show you I'm serious." As Sarah pulled her hands away, she faced the door, the laughter, the vibrant community waiting inside. Would they accept him again? Would they even allow her to consider it? "Sarah," Jack's voice echoed softly behind her, pulling her back. Taking a deep breath, she turned to face him fully, their eyes locking for what felt like an eternity. "If you want to be a part of my life again, you need to truly understand what you've done. This isn't just about us anymore. It's about everyone else too." She took a step back, feeling the weight of her resolve. "Let me show you who I've become. And until then, can you please just let me have this moment? I need to focus on my bakery." As she glanced back toward the warm glow of the kitchen, she knew she was on the brink of something monumental facing not just Jack, but the very fear that had held her captive for too long. What would it mean for her, though, if she allowed him to step back into her life? The question hung heavy between them, making her heart race with anticipation and trepidation. "Let us see where this goes," she finally said, and as she turned away, she knew that their next conversation could change everything. But would she have the strength to face whatever came next? The air between Sarah and Jack crackled with unspoken words as she turned her back to him. The laughter inside the bakery echoed further away, a reminder of the warmth and community she had forged from nothing. It was a safe haven, free from the scars of their shared history. Taking another deep breath, she stepped toward the door, heart thumping in her chest. The moment she crossed the threshold, she was met with the vibrant energy of her friends, people who believed in her, who had been there during the storm. Their laughter wrapped around her like a comforting blanket. "Sarah, you did it!" Mia exclaimed, a broad smile illuminating her face. "Look at this turnout. It's incredible." "Yeah," Sarah said, forcing a smile, though her mind was still tangled with Jack's presence outside. "It's really amazing." She glanced back over her shoulder. Jack stood alone on the porch, hands in his pockets, the rays of evening sun casting a warm glow around him. He looked lost, like a shadow of the man she used to know. The urge to pull him back and clawed at her insides. But she fought it fiercely, reminding herself of all the nights she had cried, the burdens she had carried alone. Mia's voice broke through her thoughts. "Sarah, are you okay?" The concern in her friend's eyes shattered the wall of pretense. "You seem distracted." "I'm fine, really," Sarah replied, the words tasting bitter on her tongue. "Just a lot on my mind, I guess." Mia nodded knowingly. "If it's about Jack, it's okay to take your time. You don't have to make any decisions now." The warmth in Mia's statement pulled at Sarah's heart. She deserved to be surrounded by loyalty, not regret. She felt a flicker of determination surge within her. "Thanks, Mia," she said softly. "But I have to ask, could we put up a sign about the new cupcake flavors? I want everyone to know what we've been working on." As the evening progressed, Sarah threw herself into the celebration, but her heart still danced with uncertainty. Each joke shared, every dish passed around, brought both joy and a visceral reminder of what lay outside. Would allowing Jack mean a loss of all she had fought to rebuild? Sarah, over here. Callie waved, waving her arms enthusiastically. Try this new raspberry lemon tart. For a moment, the taste of success flooded her senses. She savored every bite, riding the wave of laughter surrounding her. Yet, each time she caught a glimpse of Jack through the bakery window, an invisible tether pulled at her heart. Though the night wore on, it didn't erase the heaviness gathering in her chest. When she finally stepped out for a moment to clear her head, the porch felt different. Jack was gone, leaving only the faint echo of their confrontation hanging in the air. As she stood there, staring into the darkness beyond, regret intertwined with resolve. The stakes felt high. She had spent so long learning to stand on her own, but now a sliver of doubt crept in. Could she really forgive him? Sarah? The sudden voice behind her jolted her. It was Mia again, concern etched deep in her features. Are you sure you're okay? You can talk to me, you know that, right? I know, Sarah replied, drawing in a shaky breath. It's just, I thought I was strong enough to face everything alone, but now I'm not so sure. You're not alone, Mia reminded her gently. You've got us. But enough with the heaviness. Let us bring the fun back. Laughter bubbled up between them, easing the tension, if only slightly. But as Sarah turned to rejoin the party, her heart raced with a new question. Was she ready to face Jack again, to embrace both her past and the uncertain future? The door swung open, revealing her community bustling with life and warmth. Yet, the decision loomed before her like a fork in the road. Would she step forward into a new beginning, or retreat into the safety of what she already knew? With each step toward the laughter and light, the tension crackled with potential. Uncertainty and hope collided within her. But what if facing Jack wasn't just about forgiveness? What if it held the key to unlocking something she never knew was possible? The warmth inside the bakery wrapped around Sarah like a comforting quilt, but a chill still lingered within her. She smiled at her friends, yet the laughter felt distant, almost muted. Each cheer for the successful evening felt like a reminder of her conflicted heart. What was joy without honesty? Sarah, Callie called again, breaking her reverie. You've got to try this. It's the best thing ever. Forcing herself to engage, Sarah joined the circle of friends. Callie's enthusiasm was contagious, and Sarah allowed herself to be swept into the stream of excitement. They passed around trays of pastries, the air filled with sweet scents that danced around them, but her mind kept drifting to Jack, echoing with unanswered questions. What if he changed? A tiny voice whispered in her head. What if he's not the person who left? Just then, Mia leaned in closer, a knowing glance darting between her and Sarah. You know, sometimes facing the past can lead to the best stories, she said softly, her eyes shining with encouragement. Sarah felt her breath hitch. You think so? She asked, half hopeful and half terrified. Absolutely. Life's messy, but it's also beautiful, Mia replied, squeezing Sarah's hand. You're strong.
Don't underestimate that.
With lingering unease but newfound resolve, Sarah took a sip of her drink, the lemonade sparkling with tartness. It felt like a refreshing jolt, almost like a wake-up call. Perhaps she could find the courage to talk to Jack, to lay bare her feelings and fears. Could they possibly navigate the storm together this time? Sarah, can we have a moment? Mia asked suddenly, drawing Sarah aside. Sure, what's up? Sarah asked, curiosity piqued. Mia leaned in, her voice lower. So, about your cupcakes, there's a feature on local businesses coming up. We need to get you on there ASAP. The flicker of ambitious excitement sparked in Sarah's chest. Really? That would be amazing. But Mia hesitated. This would mean you'd need to decide about Jack and what he means to you. Will you be able to share your story? Sarah's heart sank at the thought. I don't know, she admitted, her voice trembling with uncertainty. I'm still piecing together how I feel. What if he's just a distraction? Or maybe he's part of your growth? Sometimes the hardest stories are the ones that lead to breakthrough, Mia encouraged gently. As the party buzzed around them, Sarah stared into her lemonade glass, contemplating the reflection staring back. She wanted to be brave, to embrace her journey wholeheartedly, but Jack felt like a broken mirror, sharp and beautiful, yet threatening. Okay, I'll think about it, Sarah promised, feeling more resolute. Mia smiled, satisfied. That's all I ask. Just remember, you don't have to face any of this alone. Taking a deep breath, Sarah rejoined the party, her friends already exploding with laughter towards the latest cupcake flavor. She wanted to laugh loud and carefree, but the weight of her decision pressed down. If only she could just turn around and find Jack waiting for her, would she be ready to open the door to all that history held? Suddenly, her phone buzzed in her pocket, one new message. Pulling it out, she saw Jack's name illuminated on the screen. Her heart raced. Can we talk? Please? The bakery faded around her as the screen pulsed, pulling her focus. Would this be the moment she confronted everything? As uncertainty curled in her stomach, she took a deep breath, realizing she held the key to her future. But would she finally unlock it? Sarah's heart pounded in her chest, drowning out the laughter from her friends. She couldn't shake the weight of Jack's message. It felt like a lifeline and an anchor, pulling her in two different directions. She glanced back at Callie, Mia, and the others, their faces flushed with joy as they shared stories and devoured cupcakes that were so beautifully decorated she could hardly bear to take a bite. It was hard to focus on what mattered with that tiny screen flashing in her hand. Can we talk? Please? Would linger in her mind until she found the courage to respond. Wasn't that what she had been longing for? An answer, a resolution, or even just closure. Sarah? Callie's voice broke through her thoughts again. Earth to Sarah. Yeah, I'm here. She tried to sound cheerful, but the tremble in her voice gave her away. Come on, we want to hear about the new flavor you're thinking of for the bakery. Callie teased, stepping closer with a cupcake in hand. It must be something revolutionary if you've got that look on your face. Torn between desires, Sarah forced a smile. Just experimenting, you know. They didn't need to know about the turmoil inside her. Not yet. Taking Jack's message and the party chatter in one hand, she raised the other, mimicking a grand gesture like she was about to unveil something monumental. How about raspberry lemon swirl? Takes the best of summer and wraps it in a cupcake. Cheers erupted around her, and for just that fleeting moment, the sound felt restorative, filling in the cracks of her unease. But as soon as the moment passed, the reality of Jack's request pulled her back. Sir? Mia returned, closing the gap once more. I really think you should talk to him. You know there's something there worth exploring. But was there? What if it was just a wishful thought? Feeling the phone warm again against her palms, she opened the messaging app, hesitating. The cursor blinked, waiting for anything from her, yet her thoughts jumbled in her head like flour and sugar before being sifted. Suddenly, reality frayed at the edges. What if the conversation with Jack opened a door she couldn't close? What if he had moved on completely? Let us get outside, Mia suggested, noticing Sarah's distant gaze. I want to show you something. They slipped out of the bakery, and the cool night air hit Sarah like a refreshing wave. The streetlights cast a soft glow on the pavement, and beyond them, the stars twinkled above. Mia gestured toward a mural, painted vibrantly on the side of a building. Look at that. Isn't it amazing? It shows how beauty can emerge from chaos. Taking a moment to appreciate the art, Sarah absorbed Mia's words. Wasn't she standing at the same crossroad? What kind of chaos had her life transformed into beauty? The colors swirled with hope, mixing with deep emotions she could no longer deny. Sometimes you have to just dive in, you know? Mia's voice broke the moment, full of warmth. What would it look like if you just took that step? Talk to Jack? A wave of fear swept over Sarah. What if his reality no longer matched her own? But a flicker of courage ignited somewhere deep inside. All right, maybe I'll text him back, she said slowly. Mia grinned. That's the spirit. You got this. Breathlessly, Sarah pulled her phone from her pocket, her fingers hovering over the screen. She was ready to unlock the door to her emotions, but doubt rushed in like a sudden storm. Okay, here goes nothing. But just as she was about to press send, the phone buzzed again. Another message from Jack. The words on the screen twisted her stomach as she read, "Just wanted to see if you're okay. I've missed you. More than I can say." Taking a deep breath, Sarah could feel everything shifting. What did this mean for them? Would she be brave enough to explore the truth behind those words? As the night air enveloped them, Sarah knew this was just the beginning. But with Jack's words hanging in the air, she was left questioning everything. Would she dare to let him back into her heart? The buzz of her phone felt deafening in the stillness. Sarah's heart thundered in her ears, drowning out the laughter of her friends. The vibrant mural before her blurred as her mind fixated on Jack's message. "Just wanted to see if you're okay. I've missed you. More than I can say." The weight of nostalgia hit her hard. Memories of laughter, stolen glances, quiet moments shared, all steeped in the sweet warmth of what could have been. Was she really ready to respond? Her fingers trembled, hovering uncertainly over the screen. "Sarah?" Mia's voice cut through the haze once more, but it felt distant, like she was underwater. "You good?" "Yeah, I think so." But her voice cracked, and uncertainty washed over her like a chilly wave, forcing her to take a deep breath, trying to ground herself. That didn't sound convincing at all. Mia moved closer, concern etched on her face. "You've got to let him know how you feel. You owe it to yourself." "Owe it to myself?" "Mia, what if I open that door and he has changed? What if I've built something beautiful in my life here, and he doesn't fit anymore?" The words slipped out louder than intended, tinged with desperation. Mia shook her head, eyes steady. "You never know until you try. What's the worst that could happen? Maybe it'll hurt more. Maybe it will. But you can't live in the what-ifs forever, Sarah." The mural shows how chaos can create something incredible. What if this is your chance to create something beautiful? A flicker of hope ignited in Sarah's chest at Mia's words. She looked back at the mural, the intricate design a vivid reminder that life was full of unexpected color, even amidst uncertainty. "Okay, let us see what he is saying." With determination, Sarah finally pressed on the screen. The text transformed from anxiety to action, morphing into opportunity. She tapped out a reply, the words flowing with mixed courage and fear. "I miss you too, Jack.
Can we talk?"
In person? After hitting send, she felt a rush of adrenaline. Admitting her feelings to Jack required a leap of faith. She glanced at Mia, who beamed with encouragement not just for Sarah, but for herself too. Just as Mia opened her mouth to speak, the phone buzzed again. Sarah could hardly breathe as she opened the new message from Jack. "I'll be at our spot tomorrow, 7 p.m. Her heart raced at the thrill of anticipation and dread colliding. What did Jack want to say? The prospect of facing him again sent waves of nostalgia crashing over her. She remembered their shared laughter, the warm embrace during chilly evenings, and the quiet moments that felt effortlessly right. "Sarah, this is huge," Mia exclaimed, an edge of excitement in her voice. "You're doing it. You're making the leap." "I hope it's for something good," Sarah whispered, vulnerability spilling forth again. "Whatever happens, you'll handle it. You always do. Just be open." Mia squeezed her shoulder, her eyes glowing with friendship and support. As the stars twinkled above the night sky, Sarah felt a swirl of possibilities stirring within her. Tomorrow held the potential to change everything or nothing at all. Stepping into the unknown felt daunting, but Sarah took a deep breath and allowed herself to imagine a future where her heart could be whole again. But as she stepped closer to the edge of that door, a nagging thought lingered. What if she wasn't ready for what lay on the other side? With questions still dancing in her mind, she knew the hard part was yet to come. Would the conversation with Jack reopen old wounds, or create a new beginning? As she and Mia prepared to head back to the party, Sarah realized the truth. It was time to face the past, no matter how jagged the edges might be. And with that thought hanging in the still night air, she couldn't help but wonder what emotions awaited her when she finally confronted Jack. The sky was cloaked in indigo, accentuating the anticipation bubbling inside Sarah as she stared at her reflection in the mirror. She brushed a few loose strands behind her ear and studied her face. There were traces of apprehension but also determination. Tonight was the night. She was finally taking back a piece of her heart. Mia's voice rose from the couch in the other room, breaking her introspection. "Hey, you ready yet? You'll be late." "Almost," Sarah called back, forcing a smile. She needed this night to count, for herself, for Jack. As she stepped out of her apartment, the crisp air embraced her, a reminder of change. The rustling trees and whispering leaves seemed to echo her own nerves. With each step towards their spot, the park where they had first shared a deep conversation that stretched late into the night, Sarah felt the weight of every past moment pressing against her. The sun dipped below the horizon, and the soft glow of streetlights flickered into life. She could almost hear Jack's laughter in the distance, the way it intertwined with the laughter of their friends. Memories settled like fallen leaves, beautiful yet haunting. When she reached the park, her heart raced. Jack was already there, leaning against the familiar bench, hands stuffed in his pockets. He looked just as she remembered, his auburn hair tousled, his eyes scanning the surroundings as if waiting for her arrival. "Hey," she said softly, muscles tightening as their eyes met. "Hey," he replied, his voice warm yet uncertain. The distance between them felt like a chasm filled with memories. Silence hung heavy for a moment, thick with old feelings and new fears. Sarah took a deep breath, searching his face for signs of what he might be thinking. I got your message," he began, hands now fiddling with the hem of his jacket. She nodded, trying to keep her own hand steady. "I thought it was time we talked." His expression shifted slightly, a flicker of something brightening in his gaze. "I've missed you. I've missed us." Her heart fluttered, but doubt quickly crept in. "You say that, but so much time has passed." "Things change, Jack."
People change.
"They do," he acknowledged, his eyes searching hers. "But some things, some connections can withstand that." Sarah felt her pulse quickening. Could they really find their way back? Or would they just ignite more scars? And what if we're different now? What if what we had was just a moment? He stepped closer, grief mingled with hope flashing in his eyes. "I don't believe that. What we had was real." I've thought about it every day since the weight of his words pressed against her, reminding her of the years they shared, the dreams they painted in each other's minds. She wanted to believe him, wanted to reach for the hope shimmering within her. But the fear of vulnerability loomed heavily. "It's not easy, Jack. I really don't know if I can go back to where we were." "I'm not asking you to go back," he said gently. "I'm asking if we can build something new. I want to talk about what went wrong." Understand each other as he spoke, Sarah felt a mix of emotions surging. Hope, fear, nostalgia, they twisted together, a knot in her stomach. Could she really do this? Just then, the tension cracked with the sound of laughter from a nearby group, light and carefree. It made her feel small in the enormity of this moment. "You'll have to give me time," she whispered, her heart pounding. "Time is something I can wait for." Jack's sincerity resonated, like a lifeline thrown into uncertain waters. But just as Sarah opened her mouth to respond, the moment shattered. Her phone buzzed again, this time a message from Mia. "Just checking in, you okay? Sending you all the love." The warmth in her heart collided with the reality of the decision before her. Would she be brave enough to navigate this uncharted territory? As Sarah looked into Jack's hopeful eyes, she felt the weight of choice pressing upon her. Could they weave together a future among the threads of their shared past? The path forward appeared unclear, yet somehow filled with promise. But just as the possibilities unfolded, a growing sense of uncertainty bubbled beneath the surface. Would she choose hope or hold on to her fears? Tonight would lead to discoveries she never imagined possible. And with Jack standing beside her, a question hovered in the air. Could rekindling what they lost bring them home, or would it lead to a heartbreak revisited? The night stretched out, a canvas painted with uncertainty and hope. Sarah glanced up at the stars twinkling above, their distant light a reflection of the flickering emotions in her heart. Jack stood right in front of her, the man who had once shared dreams of a future that felt as real as the autumn rustling around them. But now, that very future seemed like a fragile thread, ready to snap any moment. Can we just start over? Jack's voice broke through her thoughts, his eyes deep pools of sincerity. I want to learn from the mistakes we made, not just to fix things but to create something even better. Sarah felt the air shift, the weight of his words swirling through her. It was a daring proposition, an invitation to rewrite the narrative that had become so tangled. I've built my life again, Jack, she said, her voice steady but soft. I don't want to go back to the shadows of what you left behind. She paused, mulling over her own feelings. I'm afraid of losing everything I fought for, including myself. I understand. I really do, he replied, stepping toward her, his expression a mix of regret and yearning. I was wrong to assume you didn't need me when you needed someone the most. I found myself lost without you. Her heart tugged at the honesty in his confession. It was raw, like fresh ink on paper waiting for the next line to be written. What if this doesn't work out, Jack? What if we just end up hurting each other again? He shook his head, determination lining his jaw. We won't know unless we try. But this time, we won't run. We'll face whatever comes, together. Together the word resonated within Sarah like a drumbeat, echoing possibility. Could they be each other's safety instead of a storm? The memories of laughter, shared secrets, and fleeting moments all rushed back, reminding her of what had once been. I miss that feeling, she admitted, tears gathering in her eyes. His pulse quickened as he took a deep breath, letting silence settle between them, warming the space like a shared secret. Then let us find our way back to it. Not just the past, but a future built on understanding, support, and love. Suddenly, a burst of laughter from the park spun them back to reality, a group of children chasing one another in playful abandon. Sarah watched them, an ache forming in her chest as she recalled the days when laughter was easy and love felt limitless. Do you really mean it? She asked, doubt creeping in, trying to poke holes in the hope sparkling in her chest. Can we rebuild? Can we face that judgment together? Jack took her trembling hands in his, warmth flooding through her. Every single day. I'll show you I can be different this time. I'm not just asking for another chance, I'm offering a new start, where we both grow. Sarah inhaled deeply, the scent of autumn leaves and fresh possibilities swirling around them. Every breath felt like a breath of courage. But part of her still couldn't shake the fear of taking that leap. But if she never took that chance, would she always wonder what could have been? All right, she whispered, her voice steady although her heart raced. Let us take the first step together. No promises, just hope. A radiant smile broke across Jack's face, lighting up the dimming sky like fireworks. Hope is more than enough for me. Their fingers intertwined, solid and warm, as they stood together in that moment, their story, not just a collection of past missteps, but a beginning yet to unfold. As they turned back toward the park, the laughter washed over them, each sound a note in the symphony of their renewed connection. In that instant, Sarah realized that true transformation doesn't erase the past. It builds upon it, creating a tapestry woven with threads of love, mistakes, and growth. Together, they took their first step forward into the embrace of their community, both past and present, ready to face not just judgment, but also a path filled with possibilities. As the shadows of doubt dissipated with every step, Sarah knew this was their moment, one to cherish and build upon, not just with cupcakes and laughter, but with shared strength. The journey ahead was uncertain, but their hearts marched to a newfound rhythm, affirming that both love and resilience could weave an unbreakable bond. Now, it's your turn. You need to subscribe now to be part of the stories that inspire transformation. Leave a like now if you felt the power of this journey. It fuels this channel's heartbeat. Comment your thoughts and reactions about Sarah and Jack's big step forward. Let's get that conversation going. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who could use a little hope and love in their lives. Don't wait, not even one more second, to spread the inspiration.